Hi, hello everyone. So we are on week 23 and we are going to be having another very quick look at question 2, paper 1 and revisiting question 3, paper 1, and then we're going to return to creative writing. So all very exciting. Yes, so specifically, well, I've said all this, I'll say it again. Review your answer of question 2 and compare it to another one. Revise what's needed by question 3. Revisit your question 3 from Mr. Fisher, submit a question 3 for the mill, and revisit your creative writing. This is all for paper 1. Okay, so let's just, you all did actually a great job on question 2. Have a look at this one. So if you remember last week, you were looking at this text about Hartop, the man in the van and his family, and you had to write about how the writer had used language to describe the family. And you came up with some great answers. Have a quick look at this one, see what you think. Is it a good answer? Is there enough analysis? What mark would you give it? How does it compare with your own answer? And maybe post a few ideas or thoughts you have in the chat. So pause the video, have a think, and then we'll come back. Okay, so yes, the writer uses the metaphor of the harper's face is being moulded in clay. That is a metaphor, and quite a few of you picked up on this. The use of this metaphor describes a stoic. Stoic, that kind of means if you're a stoic, you just get on with things. Uninviting, dull family, reflected in the clay mould they've been shaped from. Much like the dullness and texture of the clay, the features of the family are lifeless and unchanged. This description displays to the reader the impression of defined features on a dull, colourless palette, showing a boring rigidity of the family. That's a really great analysis of that moulded in clay metaphor. I really think that just really explains why he used that metaphor. And then we go on to talking about the clay being a flat Swede colour. The adjective flat displays a shapeless object, emphasising the normality of the family, whilst referring to a flat drink. The reader can associate this family lacking fizz and almost inanimate. The adjective Swede colour is tinged yellow with reference to the tasteless vegetable of Swede, and the reader is left an image of a pasty-looking family. They've spelt pasty wrong, but as we know, that doesn't matter in this question. Also, a great analysis. I mean, I really like this, except I actually think Swede tastes quite nice. I wouldn't call it tasteless, but never mind. So, I mean, maybe here they've said that it's a flat colour, it's a yellow colour. Maybe they could have, again, referred that back to the fact that the family are quite dull and lifeless. They've got this kind of quite dull, lifeless, unexciting colour that reflects their personalities. But anyway, a great answer. I thought it was good. I think in real life it got a 7. So yeah, it was a good answer. You all came up with some quite different things, but they were, equally good, many of them. Okay, so now we're going to move on to question 3. I'm just going to try and get rid of myself. I haven't got to see my horrible lockdown hair. There I go. Right. So question 3. What can you remember about question 3 in paper 1? Type everything you can remember in the chat. First of all, so let's have a little recap. What is meant by, what do you have to do in question 3? Good. So what I'd like you to do now you've done that, is pause the video and actually watch the video on how to answer question 3. There are also some resources in the classroom on how to answer question 3, sentence starters, useful phrases, and so on. Have a look at both those things and then come back to this video. So good. Hopefully you've refreshed your memories. You now know what question 3 is. The reason I'm making you go over to other videos, by the way, in case you're a bit bored of doing that, is that when you come to revise, you will have a set of videos that just say how to answer question 2, how to answer question 3, how to answer question 4 for both papers, rather than having to watch whole lesson plans. So there is method in this madness. So what I want you to do now is what we've been doing the past few weeks is look at the examiner's marking. Oh, there should be an apostrophe here, shouldn't there? Probably there, because there's more than one examiner, or maybe here. Anyway, so what I'd like you to do is ignore my lack of apostrophes and watch the videos, is complete the assignments on student A to C. It's the same thing. You're reading a model answer and you're giving your own opinions on it. How do you think the student got on? What mark would you give them? There's a few more specific questions this week. And then after each one, it's really, really important that you watch the video that explains how the examiner marked each question. And then when you've done that and you're really clear, you've got question 3 clear in your mind, I want you to rewrite your question 3 on Mr. Fisher, unless you happen to get a 7 or an 8, in which case you haven't got to. If you don't know your mark, if you can't find it, let me know and I'll share it with you. This is the Mr. Fisher that you did before half term. Or was it after? Anyways, last year, sort of October, November sometime. Pause the video and come back when you've done all that. Okay, so hopefully you've massively improved your answer on question 3 for Mr. Fisher. I want you now to go back to the mill, which is what you were reading last week about Hartop shoving his van, shoving people out of the van. When you have a read through that and post in the chat any structural features you have noticed. Remember, you're looking at the whole text. What structural features have you noticed in that text? So maybe have a bit of a chat about that in the chat. Just ask me or Jill if you can't spot any, and then complete assignment. I called it assignment 3, but it probably isn't. Anyway, complete the assignment on question 3 to do with the mill. How has the writer structured this piece to interest you? And then pop back to this video. Okay, so finally this week, we need really now to start returning to creative writing, because that is something you're going to be tested on. Remember, you're not being tested on the writing in paper 2, just the writing in paper 1. So this is an important piece of writing for you. You need to get it right. What I'd like you to do is revisit a description that you completed in the autumn term. Now, this might be you were asked to do a description of this ship, this market, this train. And I want you to read my comments carefully, or Julia's comments carefully, and resubmit one of those pieces of descriptive writing, taking those comments into account. Don't do any more than 3 paragraphs because we probably won't get around to marking it. But carefully look, choose any one of these 3, have a look at the comments, think, yeah, well, I could have done that better, and then resubmit. There is an assignment that there's an assignment for this in the classroom. Don't do all 3, please. Just choose one, maybe perhaps the one that you think you did worst on. If you think you haven't done any descriptions or creative writing yet, just pick one. Just pick one to do some descriptions on. Remember, we're looking for examples of really nice creative language. Those similes, metaphors, personifications, just interesting adjectives. But it also has to be well structured. Any questions at all? We are here. Please ask us either privately in the chat or to the whole group. Good luck and look forward to reading your answers.